Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Tonight we've got, I believe, just a brand new archetype revealed. It is exactly what I thought was going to be revealed when I talked about the new Tier Elements cards last night. There was a random monster shown in the artwork last night that looks exactly like these weird red boys here. He looked dope, and I was like, we've never seen a card like this. This has to be a new archetype. It is exactly what that is, I believe. So we're going to get into the new archetype called Kashtrila. Hopefully I'm saying that right. But yeah. So Visas learns that there are forces much bigger than just a bunch of fear beasts and some terrorized mermaids in clear New Worlds setting. Okay. So the best that Yuga organization can tell, this theme's name comes from Kshatriya, a warrior aristocrat caste in India, along with Shangri-La, a legendary paradise believed to exist in the Himalayas. All right, here we go. Let's get into this. Kashtrila Fenrir. It's a level 7 Earth Psychic effect monster. Level 7 Earth Psychic. That is different. It's 24/24 for the stats, so pretty beefy. You can only use his second and third effects once per turn. If you control no monsters, you can special summon this card for your hand. Okay. During your main phase, you can add a Kashtrila monster from your hand. Damn. Wow. Okay, so just Cyber Dragon, but better. And then just Rhoda. Just go ahead and Rhoda. Who cares? Just Rhoda. That's fine. And the third effect, when this card declares an attack or your opponent activates a monster effect, you can target one face-up card your opponent controls, banish it face down. This card's a generic... This card's crazy! What? Wow. This card is just New Age Cyber Dragon, right? Like, for how powerful Cyber Dragon was when it got revealed, this card is essentially it. Except your opponent doesn't have to have a monster. You just have to have none. Drop this on the field. It's a +1, and it's just a straight up, I guess technically it's an interruption. It does require a declare an attack, so it's not like an interruption. But, especially going second, attack and then use its effect. Or when your opponent... So it's just an interruption. This card is insane. This card is actually insane. Wow. Okay. Yeah. This card's really, really, really good. I mean, this card is like borderline Pankratops / like alpha, like Zoo King alpha level. Except actually an interruption. So even going first, it's a sideable card. To just go special, search another Kashtrila monster, and then just also be an interruption. That is crazy. Okay. Alright, sorry. I'm spending too much time on that. I'm kind of blown away by how powerful that card is, just generically. Okay, next we have Kashtrila Unicorn, a level 7 wind psychic effect monster. 25/21, again, pretty beefy. Second and third effects are hard once per turn. If you control no monsters, special summon this card from the hand. Okay. During your main phase, you can add a Kashtrila spell from your deck to your hand. Okay, I get it. You're broken. And when this card declares an attack or your opponent activates a monster effect, look at your opponent's extra deck and banish one monster from it face down. Wow, just look at their extra deck. One, get entire information on pretty much what they're playing, and just fully rip a card out of it face down. Okay, same level. I mean, we'll see how good the spell traps are. We'll also see how the monsters are, because like this card technically searches a monster, but if you're searching monsters that can only really do anything if you have no monsters on the field, they're a little bit less good because you would have already had to commit him to the field. But still, again, it's a +1. It's also technically an interruption that could throw off a play for sure by banishing the right card from the extra. Given you know the matchup, like pretty strong. And the last one here is Kashtrila Ogre, a level 7 water psychic, 28 1000. Wait, that's isn't that Monarch stat lines? 28 1000, isn't that Monarchs? I actually think it is. Okay, you can only use the second and third effects once per turn. If you control a monster, special summon this card from the hand. Oh! During your main phase, you can add a Kashtrila trap from the deck to your hand. Also, I love it. These are just main phase effects, so it's not even on summon. So literally, these stick around till the next turn. You just add another card for free. Crazy. When this card declares an attack or your opponent activates a monster effect, you can excavate the top 5 cards of your deck. And if you do, banish one of them face down. Also place the rest on the top of your deck in the same... excavate the top 5 cards of your opponent's deck. And if you do banish them face down, one of them face down, also place the rest on top of the deck in the same order. Wow, so that's almost like... It's not really the same, but it reminds me of like Trickstar Reincarnation and how Trickstar Reincarnation really just wants to like mess with your opponent's hand, fudge it up. This is somewhat similar. Not quite as similar because you're not really messing with the hand, but like looking at the top 5 cards of your opponent's deck and then maybe being like, oh, what's that? Like Jet Synchron's in the top 5, and that's like your main tuner summon target off of Hauki Fibrax. Let's go ahead and banish that, right? Like, so many decks in Modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Play cards like that, 2 to 3 cards like that in the main, where they're just to raise the ceiling of their deck. They need to play somewhat quote unquote brickier cards to summon off like straight out of deck from cards like Hauk. If you banish the right cards, it really does hurt the engine. It's stuff like if you play against a deck that plays the Adventure Engine. If you're luckier and you hit the Griffin Rider on the top 5 cards, you banish the Griffin Rider. If they don't play a Legal Knight, they have so much less payoff for the actual Adventure Engine. And so it's just kind of a resource engine. Excuse me. At that point, and it's not actually able to set up much of anything very strong. So, very interesting card. Unironically, I think all 3 of these cards are legitimately, like, they feel like almost on the tier of, of Alpha, of Pank going second. They're big bodies. They get you a +1, and they're technically interruption. Except like the difference is like they're actually better going first. They're actually interruptions to just summon, play the rest of your cards from your hand, and then also they're just interruptions from the hand. Very interesting. Okay, we'll see what the spell and traps do, but let's start off with the new Exceed monster. This is a rank 7 monster. This is Kashtrila Shangri-Ira. Okay, a rank 7 fire psychic Exceed monster. These types are so weird. Attack is 0. Defense is 3000. It takes any 2 level 7 monsters. Very cool. We've been waiting for a new rank 7 for a while. You can only use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. During each standby phase, you can summon one Kashtrila monster straight from the deck. Just summon one. Yeah, they're all interruptions anyway. Don't negate or anything. Just summon it. Okay. And each time an opponent's card or cards is banished face down, like from the monster you'd be summoning out of the deck, banishing them face down. Or you're talking about prosperity, desires, extravagance, also banish cards face down. Choose one unused main monster zone or spell and trap zone. It cannot be used while this card is faced upon the field. Oh, that's every time, and that's not even a once per turn effect. So every time something gets banished face down, you can lock another zone. That's actually somewhat floodgatey. Gives me somewhat Ojama vibes in terms of like locking out zones. And the final effect of this card would be destroyed by battle or card effect. You can detach one material instead. Not terrible. Obviously, the first effect is by far the best effect, but it's every single standby phase. Just summon one from deck. Doesn't even detach a material to use that effect, so it stays on the field long enough. You could put all 3 of them out there before long. Literally just every turn get their search effects, and they're all technically disruptions on the field. Very cool. That's a cool card for sure. Any deck, off the top of my head, I don't know what decks can facilitate just like a generic rank 7 super, super easily, but I'm sure there's a couple out there. Let me know in the comment section what cards those would be, what decks those would be. Moving on, we've got a normal spell card. You can only, this is Decline Scareclaw. Technically a Scareclaw card, okay. You can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. The first effect reads, target one primitive planet Reichphobia you control or in your grave. That's the field spell, I believe, for Scareclaw. Return it to the hand. Then, if you control Visas Starfrost, you can change one face-up monster your opponent controls to face-down position. That's pretty good. That's pretty good going second. We're getting more and more of these cards. We've seen a couple of them in Tier Elements and now in Scareclaw with the new lore, where if you like control Visas to Frost, they get a little bit stronger. That second effect's honestly pretty good, kind of like allowing you to Book of Moon after you're adding back a Reichphobia. But to be honest, like, is it really worth playing Visas Starfrost in his entirety? He doesn't seem like that great of a card altogether, but who knows. The second effect reads, if there are 3 or more defense special monsters on the field, you can banish this card from your grave to add a Scareclaw card from graveyard to hand. That's a pretty good follow-up effect for sure. And you can actually use both these effects in the same turn. So you could literally like add back a field spell, Book of Moon a monster, and then if you had 3 or more defense special monsters, because you added back the field spell, maybe that got you a search to keep kind of popping off. And then you just went like, yeah, and then also, you know what? Let's just add a card from deck to hand. That's pretty good. Especially the Interruption Trap card is pretty good to be able to add back. Not a bad card all in all. I actually think that's quite good. Next up here we have Kashtrila Birth. Randomly we just have the Scareclaw card. Everything else here is Kashtrila. Okay. It's a continuous spell. You can only use the first, second, and third effects once per turn. You can normal summon a level 7 monster without attributing. Okay, so you can use them as your normal summon. That's pretty cool. That kind of helps unbrick them from your hand if you see multiples. Great. Second effect, during your main phase, you can special summon one of your non-Exceed Kashtrila monsters that is banished or in grave. So if they ever end up in grave or banished, you can just summon one. Just go ahead and summon one. That'll get you a search, and then there'll be interruptions and big bodies on the field. And the third effect, if your opponent activates a spell card or effect and you control a Kashtrila monster, you can banish 3. You can target 3 cards in your opponent's graveyard, banish them face down. Oh my gosh! These cards feel so crazy. Okay, allows you to normal summon any of the Kashtrilas to get a second one on board, even though normally you'd only be able to put 1. Secondly, just allows you to just monster reborn, essentially, any of them if you've ever linked them off or whatever. And then thirdly, it's essentially an interruption. If they just want to activate any spell, boom, banish the 3 cards from your opponent's grave, just rip their graveyard apart. That's actually pretty good. And then we move to the final 2 cards. We have 2 more trap cards, one of which is a Scareclaw. Okay. You can only activate 1 card with this card's name per turn. Tribute 1 Scareclaw monster and target 2 cards your opponent controls. Destroy them! And if you control Visas Starfrost, banish them. Again, like if you have Visas, like obviously that makes it a little bit stronger, but I still think just like the freaking Icarus attack here is strong enough. And it's super searchable throughout the archetype. So we will take that for sure. If there is a link 3 or higher monster on the field, you can banish this card from the graveyard. Link monsters on the field cannot activate their effects this turn. Whoa! And that's, again, you can activate both of these in the same turn. So you could literally go Icarus attack, and if your opponent's playing a link strategy, you could literally just turn off link monsters for the rest of the turn. Just skill drain them, but better. They just straight up can't activate their effects. That's pretty powerful, for sure. Then we get to the final card here. This is Kashtrila Prepare. This is continuous trap. You can only use the first and second effects once per turn. During either player's turn, you can special summon one of your Kashtrila monsters that is banished or in the hand. Again, making it even easier for you to just pull them out of the hand. Very nice. And secondly, if your opponent activates a trap card or effect while this card is face up in the spell and trap zone, and you control a Kashtrila monster, you can look at your opponent's hand and banish 1 card from it face down. That is a trap card. So, yeah, I mean, it's a little bit specific. Not as many decks are playing trap cards nowadays, but in the right matchup, I mean, one, this helps you get Kashtrilas out of the hand. But then, secondly, if your opponent plays any traps, we're talking Imperm, we're talking archetypes like Tier Elements that want to play their trap cards. This card becomes a nice card that just says, oh, you want to activate a trap? Cool. I get to rip a card out of your hand. Not only that, but I get to look at it and banish a card from your hand face down. Very, very strong. Very interesting. This archetype seems so wide open that it's like it doesn't even seem like it's necessarily working in one direction. They're all decent, like Cyber Dragon-esque cards, but even better. We've talked about that. They're very, very strong generically, even just going second, but also going first. They jump on the field, they plus you, and then they're an interruption. Like all three of them are like somewhat interruptive on the opponent's turn. I definitely respect that. Definitely really cool. Not surprised here. The Exceed has some bite to it. The two new Scareclaw cards are awesome. Finally, we actually get a legit powerful Scareclaw trap that's like really strong interruption wise. The other one's not even bad either. I'm definitely into this. I think this is a good wave of cards just generically. I'm curious to see how these will affect the OCG metagame. How they'll go about these. I wonder how many players will just straight up play the Kashtrila cards as far as, cool, my deck's normal summon based. And it's a one card combo, but like why not also just play good cards like these where even if they stop my combo, I still just summoned one of these and they're an interruption. Cool. Like it kind of hedges your bets a little bit, which I like. It's also level 7, so any level 3 tuners can turn these monsters into a Baronne de Fleur for a negate. Obviously that has some legs to it in the current TCG. There's a couple decks that just play the Adventure Engine just for the sole fact that they put level 7s on the field. This could kind of power creep that potentially. Just boom, you draw any of these, plop them, normal summon a hand trap that's level 3 tuner, boom, make a Baronne, boom, extend past that, and you're good to go. Like, I'm curious to see what people do with these. Very, very interested. They kind of all 7 of these, what was it? No, maybe it's 8. Yeah, all 8 of these cards kind of read pretty powerful. I'm very curious to see what people think of this. So let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts on the new cards. I'd love to hear them here. I'm out of here, though. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you have not yet, and I will see you in the next video.